Welcome, YouTubers, to another video review. Today we're going to be checking out PCS Goro. That is this bad boy here on the right, this four-armed creature. Now, this is the reason I got into statue collecting. I was talking to a friend, and we were talking about the Mortal Kombat movie, the original OG one, how awesome it was, and when Liu Kang goes into Outer World, they have Goro statues, and I just tell him, like, dude, it'd be so cool to have a giant Goro statue. Like, yeah, it would. So I decided to Google it, and I saw this, $500. I was like, holy crap. Back then I was making like 16, 17 bucks an hour, and I was like, $500 was a lot of money. That was like, I forget, as far as making like how much a paycheck. I do overtime, so I'd make like $1,200 a paycheck. But still, like nearly half my paycheck for a toy. So it's crazy to me. And I actually said, screw it, I want this. I'll just buy this. It'll be the only piece I ever get. So I bought it. Of course, the website I bought it from was a scam website. I did end up filing a chargeback a few months later, and that website was a scam. I did eventually pre-order Goro and got actually an AP version from someone. And then I sold the AP version to someone who got me the 4 ninjas. And then I just bought a normal Goro. So mine's a normal one. But originally at one point I did have an AP, which, AP stands for artist proof. It's just a little bit more special. But this Goro was extremely special to me when I first, it's the main reason I got into statue collecting. So let's talk about it. Concept. So PCS, like OG PCS did a lot of their statues with these black bases, no environmental. No, they started to transition into the environmental on MK9, MKX, and I much do prefer those environmental bases. The black ones, the only positive thing about these black bases is they match. Outside of that, I think these are absolutely horrible bases. Now, what's even worse is something that's just like a glass base, like what Gentle Giant has done. But these are still some of the absolute worst bases ever on a statue. 0 out of 10 for the base concept. Now, the pose. I like this pose. However, that pose does block a lot of his chest area and part of his face, depending on the angle. Now, is it a cool pose? But I'm never a fan of having, body parts blocked on a statue. I want to be able to see everything. But I do think the pose is still really cool. So in terms of concept on pose for Goro, I'd probably give it like a 7 out of 10. So paint and detail. I believe this was originally sculpted by Jerry Macaluso. And I think the sculpt is solid. Jerry does a really good job on muscular detail, anatomy, Of course, this is coming from a video game in the 90s. And so what Goro actually looks like in the 90s is not how they're going to sculpt him. They made a more modernized version. Not extremely modernized, but definitely enough to be a highly detailed statue. You have mixed media here and here, and then this is sculpted. His hair is sculpted. Face detail, pretty good. This is the exclusive. The exclusive is the green portrait, and I've been displaying that exclusive since day one, and I'll never display the regular portrait. I just think this one goes a lot better with that pose, and I have the 1/3 Goro, which is the closed mouth, so I'll never display the normal. For the most part, with any PCS, I find the exclusive to almost always be better. Always. So yeah, I display the exclusive portrait. Other than that, there is no other swap outs for this piece. He retailed at $500, which at the time was a decently expensive statue. Most Sideshow premium formats were running about $350 at the time. So this was more expensive. Now, Goro is a bigger 1/4. Now, next to like these two, he's not bigger. But in general, compared to like, let's say Liu Kang, which is a 22-inch tall, 1/4 scale. He's a big piece. He's 24 inches tall. Now, if they were to redo Goro, I think he could be substantially better, with a much better concept and base, especially like if you look at the Prime 1 bases nowadays. But overall, I do think this sculpt and overall paint app does hold up. I'd give it a solid 7 out of 10 for paint and detail and sculpt. You know, I still think it's a fantastic sculpt. The paint app is good, you know, like on the skin tone. You know, it does have this really nice pattern here on the back, which looks really well done. You know, and overall, I still think this statue holds up. You know, I think if you're collecting Mortal Kombat, this is currently the only Goro 1/4. The only other Goro is that 1/3, and then there's some garage kits. The garage kits are all terrible. I've owned them, sold them, terrible. So, if you want a reasonably priced Goro, this is the guy to get. It has a low edition size, 175 plus probably 5 to 10 artist proofs, but still less than 200. So overall, I think it's a great statue. I probably would say don't buy this more than $700 if you're in the market to get the Goro. You know, I'm sure we're going to see a better Goro in the future. You know, hoping Prime 1 picks up the, you know, MK gaming license. And in general, I think PCS has done hasn't done it true justice. They've done some really good MK statues, but compared to what Prime 1 does on their 1/4, PCS is pretty far behind. You know, but this, again, is like a 10-year-old statue from pre-order. Like, this was something I pre-ordered before, like it was up for pre-order when I got into statue collecting. I've been statue collecting for nearly a decade now. So it's a 10-year-old sculpt. I still think it holds up really good. Much better than most, like, Sideshow premium formats do. And you'll notice I've sold every single Sideshow premium format but that Master Chief. That's the only one. So overall, I'd probably rate this statue a 7 out of 10. It's still a great piece. I just hate the base. You really can't do too many more swap outs outside of the head. You know, it's like you can't do it on the arms, because then there would be a seam line. But overall, it's still a great piece. I do wish it was bigger. Goro was massive in the game. I still wish this was bigger. When you compare it to the likes of these Prime 1s, who are all like taller and overall bigger, I wish this Goro was like 25% bigger. I wish he was like, instead of this tall, I wish he was like that tall. He should be nearly the size of a 1/3 scale statue. I wish, and frankly, all 4 of these should be much bigger, in my opinion. I know he said he underscaled Shao Kahn, at least the MK9 version. I don't know about this one. But I do wish Goro was bigger. And I hope PCS never does the whole black bases again, because it's a terrible base. It really is. But yeah, overall, Goro is still a solid statue, though. I still really like it. I would only sell it myself if I'm going to get out of MK 1/4. And I'll only do that if we get a Prime 1 Final Fantasy VII line, Stellar Blade, and I really need the space. Otherwise, I think, I'll be keeping them all because I really enjoy them. And I've sold a lot of MK over the years. Some of them have definitely not aged as good, like the ninjas and the girls. But I think Goro still has aged pretty good. So I would suggest, you could probably still buy it now and sell it and get your money back by the time another Goro 1/4 comes out. And honestly, it could be a long time before we see another Goro 1/4. It's already been 10 years. We haven't seen anything. As far as I know, PCS is done with MK. Our only hope is custom or Prime 1 getting it. But I highly doubt Prime 1 is going to make a classic Goro. Most likely they would do a newer game Goro, like MK. I don't even remember if Goro's an MK11. He is, but he's like one of those secondary characters. They'd probably do like MK11, for example, not classic. So if you want classic OG from Mortal Kombat 1, this is the guy to get, folks. But, this is one of the more older pieces in my collection. It's stood the test of time over the last 9.5 years since I've owned it. And I never reviewed it or anything. So I wanted to review Goro for you guys. I still really do like this statue. I think it's awesome. Anyways, folks, that is it for PCS Goro exclusive. Hope you all enjoyed this re-review. See you in the next one. Have a great day.